In today's tutorial, we're learning how to make this beautiful Safari logo with cutout icons in the text. And it's really customizable 100% in PowerPoint using everything that is available in PowerPoint. So no external things needed. You can customize it however you want with colors, pictures, and also, of course, make variants for any word that you prefer. Let's start from a blank slide. And the first thing we're going to do is let's change the background color. Go to Format Background. And then we're going to give it a solid color, and I'm going to choose more colors, and we're going to drag it to this green area, green bluish area, and then drag our slider here to a darker tint, and then choose whichever color that you like. There we go. This gives us a nice green bluish tint color. Next, we're going to add a word on the slide, so add a text box. And in our case, it's going to be Safari. You can choose any word that you like. Go for the font Avenir Next or any other font that has a bold font subtitle. So let's try heavy in this case. Make it white and increase the font size to 120. Center it in the middle. And we're going to make it a little bit bigger. So 144, that will do. Center it in the middle. And then we're going to add the logos. And for that, we go to the Insert tab, go to the icons, and this opens an icon library on the right. And in this library, you can look for whichever icon that you want. In our case, it's more animal themed. So let's look for animals. And then you can select a bunch of animals that you think you want to add in your logo or that you kind of like. So I'm going to choose this fox. And let's also choose maybe this chameleon. Scroll down, see whichever one we like. And the best thing for this case is that you look for these full logos. So not the outlines, but the logos that have a darker feel to it or like a full fill of color. Let's also add this howling wolf, and a rhino will always do nice. And then maybe one more. Let's take this seal. So we have a little bit of a variation of all different animals. Insert them to the slide and let's put them to the side for a moment. Split them apart so we can easily see which ones that we have selected. Now what we want to do next is we want to find a good spot for each logo in that letter. Now keep in mind you can increase the size of the logo to sort of match the content or to match the text. And in this example, it's nice to fill up the gaps of the logo. So in the S, there's two gaps. There's this part and this part. In the A, we also have two gaps, the middle and the bottom. The F, the top gap and the bottom. So you see every letter kind of has its own style. What we can do is we can look for spaces where this logo kind of fits neatly in. So this fox, for example, could fit nicely in the letter S, so that it's still visible that it's a letter S, but you get the fox logo or the fox outline shape. Now you can always fill it with the same green color, and that way you can already see that this nicely integrates with the logo or with the letters. Do the same for the other animals. So try to find a nice spot where it would fit. And in this case, for example, the logo or the howling wolf goes upwards, which would perfectly match with the R in this case. Now here we see it's kind of difficult to fit it in. So we can always go to Arrange, Rotate, and Flip horizontally. And this way, it makes more sense and it nicely fits in. You can always scale it up or down, and then give it the same background color to see if you like the result. That looks quite good. Some of them are easier to spot, some of them are harder. There's no real wrong or right way to do it. The seal, for example, it's quite a flat logo at the bottom, so I think it will fit nice in the A's. Let's try to put it here and maybe increase it just a little bit or decrease it. See what we can do here. We want it to sort of overlap the majority of the empty space. And now let's give it the outline. This kind of looks good already. The rhino, that might be a difficult one since it's a bit of an oddly shaped logo. So depending on where we put it, it might look good or bad. So let's fill it like this. This feels a bit weird. So it's not really telling too much that it's a rhino. It kind of gives it away, but it's not fitting exactly. So what I want to do is I'll make it orange, so to make it stand out. And I think it could fit nicely in this F. So we're going to rotate it, flip horizontal, and then we want to fit it in here. So you can already see that this maintains the shape of the F, and it makes it very clear that it's a rhino. Now, of course, this really overlaps the A, which isn't really nice. So what we can do is we can crop this logo. So we're going to crop it until we meet the border of the F. Now here we have our little leg, so we don't want that. But if we make it green, I think that will drop off anyways. So this kind of looks nice, keeps the shape of the F, and nicely integrates the rhino. And then we have one more, the chameleon. Now we can do the same, we can add it into the logo. But for this example, and since it's a chameleon, I think it'll also be nice if we do the negative. So if we kind of place it on top of a letter and make it white so that it fits together with the text. So it's not a negative, but it's actually an extra addition to the lettering. And let's position it on the I so that almost every letter has like an equal spacing or an equal animal into it. You don't have to do everything. You can add one in the A here. I'm going to leave it like this. I think that looks quite nice. Now, as a next step, we're going to add a subtitle to it. Could be anything that you want. Let's maybe do a tagline for a safari, the wildest experience. Make it white. Avenir next. Increase the font size. Maybe just a little bit smaller, 42. Center in the middle. That way it's nicely positioned. And let's use a lighter subfont, maybe ultra light. There you go. That way it's less dominant and it's like a nice subtitle. So this already looks quite nice. Now, if you want to go this step further, there's another thing that you can do. Now we have multiple loose objects. So we have all of the logos, we have the text, which we can still individually move around. But if we want to, for example, let's say we grouped everything together and we scale it downwards, it will mess everything up because the text is not really scaling in the same proportion. Now there's a solution for that. So let's ungroup and we're going to add a little shape on top of the text. Select the text, hold shift and select that shape, go to format, and now we're going to union. And this converts our text into a graphic. So if we now scale this box, it will scale in proportion to the way we want. This of course means it is no longer editable, so only do it with the final text. Now again, we can still move the objects if we want to fix that. We're going to select our icons, hold shift while selecting them all, graphics format, and we're going to convert them to shape. And this creates individual shapes of our icons. We can see that our rhino here flipped to the original shape. We don't want that, so we're going to flip it horizontal again. And I think we have to adjust the crop marks. It doesn't do that, so there's a simple trick. Let's add a rectangle, position it on top of the icon, select the icon, select the rectangle, and subtract. And this creates a nice cutout of your rhinoceros. Select the object or the text in the background, hold shift and select the icon converted to an object, shape format, and subtract. Now repeat this step with all the icons. So we're going to subtract them all one by one. Same for the wolf, subtract. And then we're going to select the icon and add the chameleon. And this one we're not going to subtract, but we're going to merge to create one consistent shape. Now we can easily see that if we move our text box, that the cutout has been made from the shape, and that is the effect that we want. I noticed that this eye of the chameleon is treated as a separate object, so I'm going to select that, shape format, union, that way it is staying together. Now creating this as a separate shape allows us to be a little bit more flexible. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new slide, remove all the content, go to insert, icons, and now we're going to the image tab. And now let's see if we can find something from a safari. So this gives us some nice images that we could use. And let's look for an image which we think would look nice. Let's try this one. Insert to the slide. We're going to put it on full screen. And now we can copy the logo that we have created together with the text. And we can paste that on the slide. This might be a bit hard to read, and for that there's also a solution. So format picture, go to picture corrections, and we're going to reduce the sharpness all the way to the left to kind of make it blur out a little bit. Select the object, the safari with the cutouts, and we're going to give this a slight drop shadow just to make it pop from the background and increase the readability of it. We can do the same with the text, so go to the text options, shadows, and then drop shadow. And this already looks quite nice. Now, of course, if you want to make variants, you can easily duplicate the slide, format background, and then easily change the colors to a different color. You see there might be some shapes, so you can remove them. We no longer need them. And then this object is a free moving object, which you can scale up or down as you like. Again, any color, any pattern, any image can all be used. So if you want to make it yellow, if you want to change this color, you can easily change it to something darker. This one is just a text field, so you can change that as well. And you can create some easy variations of that graphic. Now, of course, this works with all different animals, all different words, all different icons. Let's give another example of it. Create a new slide. And maybe let's make this one, let's make it yellow. We're going to put another text in, something shorter, maybe bear. See what we can do there. Avenir next. Make it heavy. Change the font to 142. Center in the middle. Maybe one bigger, since it's a short word. And now let's look for a nice icon that could fit here. So of course we're looking for a bear. And here we have two options. I think this one will be nicest since it's a full fill graphic. And let's see where we can position our bear in the logo. There's a few things where I think it would fit. Here, the head would nicely match with the R. That could be cool. But I think it's better if we position it at the start of the word so that it makes a little bit more sense. So let's increase the size, position it so it covers that whole of the B, and then just repeat the same steps. So add a shape, can be any shape, to the text, select the text, hold shift. The order is really important. Select the text, hold shift, and select the graphic. Go to shape format, union, hold or select that object with the text that we've created, hold shift and select the bear. And then we're going to subtract. Here we forgot to convert it, so select the icon, convert it to shape first, and now we can do that subtract again. And there we have kind of a nice cutout. This element you can remove. The order in which you subtract is really important. Let's say we select the bear first and then the word, and if we then subtract, it will do a little bit of a different thing, and that's not what we want. So basically what you're saying is you select one object, you hold shift, and you want to subtract the second object from it. That's how the logic works here. Remove this part, and there you have a nice bear logo. Again, here if you want something image like forest, and look for a nice forest image, maybe this one will look quite cool. Insert, center back, and then if we make this white, kind of stands out neatly. Crop the image a bit so there's more forest in the picture. And then this one you can also make it a little bit more blurry. It really depends on the style that you want. Graphics format. And then here as well, you can add the shadow to it. So now let's look at the designs that we've made. Let's do it from the start. And here we can see the first Safari logo with some nice cutouts in the letters, which you can really customize. And you can change the background colors. If you then add a nice fade to it, it gives a cool effect when you transition. You can always use it with a background picture as well, so with transparent cutouts. So with some transparency to the letters, or you can choose it for any other word that you want. In this case, the bear is more of a minimal style. You can really go crazy in your designs here. Thanks a lot for watching. If you want to learn more about PowerPoint, please watch this tutorial on the screen right now.